Like 3 hours of government, there are like 3 hours of employment as well.
Right? I know that aside from the labor law, there are other acts that actually guide the employment relationship within the workspace. Well, I think literally everyone in the workspace is an employee, even the leaders of the workspace.
Who really runs the workplace?
Hello, welcome to the Expat Explorer, your number one best employment podcast in the world.
That's right.
Of course, you know, on this platform we discuss the facts, the myth, and everything in between. My name is Mide.
And my name is Aisha. And on today's episode, like before we even get started, but like we need to appreciate people that have been like showing up
Consistent.
Yeah,
the real
MVPs.
MVP.
Yeah, thank you. And keep the support coming. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, the ones making us to still have that energy to come back to give more. Because trust me, otherwise you'll probably be demotivated.
Yeah, we have
But again, it also shows that most of you that view us, right, based on our statistics, most of you that view us actually have not subscribed. So we'd like you to subscribe,
Please do.
like, share, drop your comments.
Yes.
Let's interact. Let's get to
Let's
hear from you.
communicate.
Don't be a ghost
Come on.
audience. And
Yeah.
trust me, subscribing is free.
Very simple.
YouTube is not removing anything from your bank account.
Exactly. And today's episode, we'll be talking about like who really runs the workplace.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So you know, just like there are like 3 hours of government, there are like 3 hours of employment as well. It's made up of like 3 kinds of relationships. Like it's like a love triangle.
3 actors.
Maybe the love triangle. I don't know. So there is the employer, the employee, or the law. Who really runs the workplace? Like what guides like how?
Definitely not the employee. Well, the world of work is shifting.
It's shifting.
Like,
in Nigeria.
It cannot dictate the tone.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
again, there are actors in the workspace and there are key essential players.
Yeah, you're right.
In that setting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree with you. And in Nigeria, generally, what guides like employment law and the labor law is the Nigerian law basically that talks about employment and
The Labor Act.
The Labor Act, sorry, that talks about employment. What is the norm? What is the best practice? What is expected of like employers? But it's only funny enough, it only addresses like blue collar works and like maybe junior level in the workplace. It doesn't really go in depth. It's like people that are like in leadership, management. That's kind of like left with the employer to kind of decide like, okay, this is our decision based on this, rather than like it's coming from like the labor law. Did you know that?
Well, I think literally everyone in the workspace is an employee, even the leaders of the workspace, right? I know that aside from the labor law, there are other acts that actually guide the employment relationship within the workspace. There is the Labor Act, there is the Factory Act, there is the Compensation Act. There are different other acts that actually guide the interaction between these 3 parties.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think employees really have so much say. It is only in the I think in the Labor Act and in the Factory Act that there are some areas, especially where you have industrial relations, labor, what they call them, labor party. Unionism, God. Politics.
I'm killing my party, I just got it.
God. So, I mean, those are the only people that tend to also shift the dynamics of challenge the dynamics of work. Gone are the days where industrial movements, right, and actions were seen as things that organizations should consider. But it's now like an unspoken rule that if you're in a private sector, you cannot have an industrialization
There's no unionism. If you do it like this,
exactly, they will first of all have spies that
will infiltrate your union.
So I don't think the private sector actually encourages such practices and the likes of it. But things that we spoke about, especially during those periods when we talked about the labor law and what it says about a couple of things, HR functions and all that, right? I think we spoke about challenging the status quo. There has to be a revised version of the labor law.
Yeah, very correct.
Recently, I was having a conversation with a friend, and she said something about being entitled. I mean, in the entire year, she's only entitled to 10 days of leave. 10 working days of leave. And I'm like, how do you take just 10 working days? And this is just, I mean, I don't think they observe federal holidays.
Oh, like public holidays?
They don't.
Wow,
they don't observe federal holidays. And I think it happens in most organizations that have, ad hoc staff.
Okay.
Customer service staff.
Yeah.
All these customer service inclined organizations, they feel there is a consistent need or constant need to always have
someone
labor,
around.
yes, to speak to customers.
Yeah, like you can't really. That's why there's like systems in place like shift work. And I was with like the 10 days. Like if you are looking at the labor law, what the labor law like prescribes, like maybe like 6 to 7 working days. That's That's what is a number. Like I'm not saying that if it's 10 days, it's not as if the company is going against the labor law. And for companies that have like customer support, for example, there are like, for the world of today and for the work of today, that you have like services that run 24 hours, you need to always have someone on ground. That's why there are systems like maybe shift-based work. Not like it's one person that is working the entire 24 hours. That's not sustainable. That doesn't make any sense. And there should be like compensation. Like I'm talking from my own experience. In my team, I have a customer support that runs 24 hours, even on public holidays. But what we have put in place is that, okay, on public holidays, you get extra pay. You can decide, okay, I'm working on this day, and you get like an extra incentive for it. No, like, but you still need to be available. For example, now, the kind of business I run, it doesn't mean like, okay, maybe it's Christmas Day, and nobody needs, like, there's no need for customer support, or when the customers call, they don't have any questions. So somebody has to be on ground, actively responding.
I think I get that part, right?
So
I also feel that there's a case of dehumanization, in the sense that you are using, like, you are literally slave driving your employees. You are not trying to actually get them to see themselves as a contributor to the entire goal.
Yeah, that's
you are actually just having them, like, you have your machines running certain things. It's just like you're in a manufacturing company. And speaking of manufacturing company, I know this is we digress. But seriously, I think I enjoy the fact that you invited me for your expo. Event. The conference, right, that happened last Saturday, because I saw something very interesting, right? I saw a company that was actually building manufacturing machines, right? Like, they were automating manufacturing, so they provide the software to be able to automate your process as a manufacturer. And I feel that is brilliant. Although there are downsides to it, because it means that those that are ad hoc staff
that run the machines
would be laid off. If such automation
should be adopted
and should run smoothly. Because also, I think the people that are in the system have to give room for even that same manual process, because again, anything can happen. The automation might just pack up. Something might disrupt it, or it can be hacked, or something can just go wrong. Right? So there should be like a backup plan for the business. So sorry for digression, but let's go. What was the next point?
Okay. Oh, you were still talking. I thought you were still talking about like the customer support and people running. I agree. I actually agree
people
with you.
And
there are ways that you can make it work, because you can't, like, even for different, apart from customer support, there are certain workspaces that require like 24 service, 24 service, 24 service,
24 hours
24 hours service. I don't know why 24 hours service. Like, for example, in the health space and the hospital, there are hospitals that run like 24 hours, someone has to be there. So it's in the way that you manage those people that do that kind of work like that matters. And I agree with you that there are companies that dehumanize it and make it feel like, okay, you have to walk yourself into the ground, and that should not be encouraged, and that shouldn't be the norm. Even though like you want to have like a system that that allows for like 24-hour service, you should be able to manage your people well and ensure that your people are well rested and that they are not overworked. So yeah, I agree with you I agree with you on that. Yeah, you definitely have a point. And also the other thing that I wanted to say, that in Nigeria, for example, and there are laws in place, there are laws that are put in place, but how often do like employees know these laws, and how do they know that I'm being wronged, I need to speak up, or I need to talk to somebody? Like in other clients, like in other countries, they know these things. They know that you see people like suing companies like okay, this is not right, I'm going to report.
Sorry to cut you here.
Yeah.
Right. Now let's bring it to the basics.
Yeah.
Because I think one thing I learned today in church is having to start with the basics.
Okay, let's
kudos to my pastor, P-Flow. Because if we understand the basics, right, we'll be able to even say if it is something that is realistic. The basics is, do people even know their fundamental human rights?
In this country.
In this country especially, right? There is a gap. In schools today, I don't think most schools actually teach this.
They've even stopped, like, do you know they've cancelled history? Like, history is not compulsory anymore in school. So if they're not teaching them history, we didn't teach them their rights.
Well, so maybe during social studies, all those kind of courses, they probably hinted. But do we put a conscious effort to educating people about fundamental human rights?
Yeah.
We have people that come out as advocates, what do they call these people? Activists. And we also have people I'm not saying that celebrities have the responsibility for everything, but there are some things we promote and they don't make sense. Some of these things they promote do not make sense. Why don't you promote the things that are beneficial to people? Let them know that they have the right to speak, they have the right to, move, and so many things. It's just what should be the basics. So if you don't know that basics, how then do you want to know Nigerian labor law? More so in this part of the world, if you want to hide something from a black person, according to a wise man, you put it in writing. Right? So people will not read it. People would rather go to ChatGPT to simplify what the labor law says about certain things. And it just begs the question, do we really want the best for ourselves? Because again, as much as the employer is a player, the government is also a player, you as the employee a player, and each individual player is there to protect their interests.
Exactly.
So no matter what, however we flip the coin, an interest is to be protected. And as the employee, you cannot say that an employer should want to protect your own interests.
Yeah, they would definitely.
It is not realistic. Let's be fair. If you have a business, your primary goal for that business is to ensure continuity, survival, growth, and whatever dreams and visions you have for your business. It will not be that an employee should be able to build mansions. Maybe you might desire to empower employees, but that's not your primary goal. Impact is essential, right? But it might not necessarily be your vision. It won't even be the vision for the organization unless you're running like an NGO. And maybe your NGO is aimed at, just like the way this Tunde Onokoya is empowering those in the slum, which is a very fantastic thing, right?
It is such a
of course, the government enacts, all those policies as it relates to tax, as it relates to pension. So definitely they are the most supreme. And speaking of tax, kudos to the Nigerian government, right, on giving, even though it's still January next year,
Yeah.
of giving a breather, right, to those persons earning 250,000 naira gross on a monthly basis, right? Whilst that is a positive improvement, means that at least there's been some considerations to those persons that are not earning so well.
Yeah.
And that is why we're giving the kudos. However, it also on the flip side, it means that everything is going really wrong with the economy, because how can 250,000
be considered poor? Like,
right? How can it be the consideration for? How can it be the earnings?
It's considered, like what they said was like, okay, if you are earning 250,000 naira or below per month, you are considered poor.
Yeah, so yes,
and
literally
that's so scary, because even 10 years ago, like 250,000 naira was a lot of money. What am I saying? Like 5 years ago.
I remember that there were managers, there were MDs, managing directors that used to earn 250,000 naira years back, and
not
even the government in power, not 10 years, but even the government in power, some of them were probably gone in for 250,000 naira monthly at some point in their lives.
Facts.
We need to tell ourselves the truth. Something must be done. Whilst I saw that they increased minimum wage, the counter effect is that the standard of living keeps really yes, and it means that the economy has really depleted. So whilst we're happy about increases, the other side of it is that automatically the economy is bad, and that means that the bargaining power of consumers keeps sinking into
pain.
In
fact, it's no longer underground. It's like, I don't even know, it's below underground. Like,
it's below underground, and so we really need to, I don't know what employees can do in this situation, but we need to tell ourselves the truth, and we need to put something in place, infrastructures. We're appealing to the government to see how things can further help the standard of living. Right. So we've come to the end of today's episode. If you've not subscribed, gosh, you're going to miss what we're going to bring on board next week.
Yes, I promise you don't want to miss it.
Yes, 100%.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be really exciting. It's and we already promised initially that we're going to conduct research on ensuring that whatever we bring on board or wherever we talk about here is of value, and then it would help you understand how to manage and navigate the workspace better, whether you're in Nigeria or in Ghana or in any parts of the world. What we're going for as a brand is to ensure that we do broad research about practices, employment practices around the world, the labor laws and all of that, and then bring it to your desk for you to feed on.
Exactly. So in the know, okay, what's going on in the UK? What's going on in the US? What's going on in Canada? What's going on everywhere? So you know that, okay, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. Don't worry, trust us. We got you.
With all that being said, from one expert to another, be bold,
be global,
and be you.